In America, everyone counts, and the 2020 census is how that great promise is kept. Respond today online, by phone, or by mail, and help inform hundreds of billions in funding for education, health programs, and more. Shape your future. Start at 2020census.gov. So, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she spoke last night for 60 seconds, and people acted a fool because she said this.
In a time when millions of people in the United States are looking for deep, systemic solutions to our crises of mass evictions, unemployment, and lack of health care, en el espíritu del pueblo, and out of a love for all people, I hereby second the nomination of Senator Bernard Sanders of Vermont for President of the United States of America.
That's it, y'all. That's what she said. And the folks at NBC News put out this tweet. Oh, my God, she did not talk about Joe Biden. Hours later, NBC News released this. Editor's note and clarification. Ocasio-Cortez was asked by the DNC to second Sanders' nomination. The nomination is a procedural requirement of the convention. Ocasio-Cortez has previously endorsed Biden, and her speech was similar in length to other nominating speeches. Y'all, they put that out 3.5 hours afterwards. Lauren, this shows stupidity. This is the stupidity, Lauren, of people. Like, this was a thing. People were, like, losing their mind. And this is also what happens. And again, I don't know who the hell was running the social media at NBC, but clearly was somebody who doesn't know what the hell happens at conventions without realizing that people who get delegates, deals are cut where they still get, for the record, to get their delegates, and they tabulate them. And typically what happens is, after the first ballot, there typically is somebody to say, I call to make it unanimous. Then the delegates vote. They make it unanimous who the nominee is. It shows the stupidity of people who are always trying to find something. Oh, my God, Ocasio-Cortez, she didn't talk about Joe Biden.
Yeah, well, I mean, we do live in a world where our technology, our social media technology rewards people who come up with a bombastic get, so obviously I know there was a discussion at Twitter about removing the like button, and that may have been in part because that has motivated people to post things that are not true before verification, post false information, post information that they have no expertise in, all for the attention of the retweet and the like button. I mean, so I think a lot of what drives these little silly moments of, wanting to sort of run to social media and post something and the excitement of it, and it's inaccurate, and then you get embarrassed later on. And we've seen many very interesting examples side by sides where, somebody has sent something out 2 years ago and then they contradicted. I remember the Sean King example recently where he had just, basically wrote the opposite of something. And that's what social media, I think, drives a lot of people to do. Unfortunately, it impacts what is, generally considered to be, legacy journalism, which is supposed to be built on fact-checking and being careful about what you put out there. But, unfortunately, legacy journalist organizations are trying to keep up with everybody on Twitter who's just putting stuff out there. So it's just it's a race to the bottom, and the casualty is accuracy. Anytime you have speed and you have complicated information, the casualty will always be accuracy.
But it's just basic. It's just so basic, Robert. And these people, again, they act a fool. They get all upset and like, oh my God, how dare you? And and what she does is she said, y'all, this is what it was. And again, people, it's like they're so quick to try to find the gotcha moment. This is where credible people have to go, can y'all calm down? This is what's going on. I had to do that about 3 or 4 times last night where people were like, oh, my God, I don't understand what's going on. Like, this makes no sense. And I'm probably, because y'all probably don't even pay attention to this stuff all the time. So chill.
Well, look, this is why Donald Trump won in 2016, because he was able to control the news cycle, understanding that nobody pays as much attention to the fact check as they do to the initial impression. What they were trying to do, look, the convention was pretty boring. They were up against LeBron in the first round of the playoffs. So I think they were trying to spice it up by creating a reality show drama situation in an otherwise mundane convention. Who's the young, sexy, rising star that we can get some media attention from and get some clickbait to? What the song came out a few years ago, 100 likes, they'll do anything you like for 100 likes. They are trying to get that sort of attention for an otherwise mundane task that's not getting great ratings, and so they try to create a story. It's reality TV media. It's no different than Housewives or Love and Hip Hop or anything along those lines. If there's not a storyline there, you create the storyline through the media. Trump has been the master of manipulating this. He's been the master of getting free media. I think the last media cycle or last campaign, he got around $3 billion in free media because he knew that just by putting out a tweet, he could get more attention and more eyeballs on him than by doing $1 million ad buy. And the media is falling directly into it again. And I think the media has to, at some point, be held responsible for the fact that they keep giving free ad time and free advertising to the shiny candidate instead of doing some real media and real journalism to get to the truth.
It's just basic, Brandon. It's just basic. It's like if you know the deal, it's basic.
Yeah, you know, it kind of reminds me of when you got to watch a baseball game with someone who doesn't watch baseball, and you got to explain all the different rules. Look, I think at the end of the day, too, you know, people being sheltered in place, folks are paying more attention now than they have in the past. But I think to your point, when the media gets it wrong, it certainly continues to give fuel to a tyrant in the office of the presidency. And as more fuel is given to him, it certainly shines more attention on his space and away from what's most important. I would say this, though. I really wish that Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez would have gotten a little bit more time to speak last night, because I actually believe that she represents the future of our party.
Dude, and you know what? She's not worried about last night. She ain't worried about last night. She ain't worried about last night. Here's the deal. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez could actually go on her Instagram page, her Facebook page, and Twitter page, and have more people watching than who watched last night.
No, look, I don't disagree with that. What I'm saying, though, is it's not just embracing her style. It's about a recognition that right now you have party leaders that are more interested in recruiting disgruntled Republicans, where I think we have an opportunity to grow our space, particularly within our black base within the party, within our youth base, the progressive space in the party, and that she represents a voice and an ideology that reflects the values of today. Look, the people not understanding, you know, certain parliamentary or convention rules, yeah, that's frustrating. And it's also more frustrating when the media gets it wrong. But what I would say, just to offer some perspective, that where the party needs to continue to go and grow, that wave has swept through this country.
Actually,
it's just one example of that.
No, but it's not. It's not. And this is where I'm going to push back on you on that one. Here's the deal that Democrats have to understand and accept. Every district in the nation is not the same as her district. The reality is this. The Democrats took control of the House in 2018, not because of these super progressive districts. They actually took control because of moderate districts. For instance, Congresswoman Lucy McBath barely won her district. She beat Karen Handel. Right now, they're running neck and neck. That district is not a super progressive district. The district in Georgia, same, Sanford Bishop, same thing, not super progressive. So a Sanford Bishop has to take different positions because of his district than Congressman John Lewis did, or even David Scott or Hank Johnson in theirs. And so we have to, I think we make a mistake that, first of all, congressional districts are 700,000 people. Okay? So the reality is Ocasio-Cortez represents, there's a constituency that is far left progressive, no doubt. But Democrats cannot win, cannot have a majority if they only appeal to the Ocasio-Cortezes of the world. They have to have far left and moderate or centrist Democrats, because you have to win based upon the contours of your congressional district or your state.
Yeah, but Roland,
Casey in Pennsylvania has to run a totally different race than Harris or Feinstein in California. It's just, they're different.
But Roland, you don't have to be progressive or be labeled as a progressive to advocate for Medicare for all.
No, I understand that. I understand that. But what I'm saying,
I think that's what I'm saying, though. I'm not saying that left versus right. I'm saying that the message of Medicare for all, fully funding our public schools, creating opportunities so people can actually make a livable wage, making sure that people like Jeff Bezos, who are paying the same tax rate as individuals seeking unemployment. That's what I'm saying.
But here's the deal, though. But here's the deal, though. You can't. But you actually can't have everyone saying Medicare for all when the very unions that support Democrats were the ones who were saying to Warren and Harris and Sanders, "Yo, back the hell up, because we fought hard for those benefits." See, this is the struggle, Robert, that I think that again, as I look at the Democratic Party, the reality is this. The Democratic Party has a much larger tent than the Republican Party. Democrats got to keep a whole bunch of people happy to win. Republicans, you're either right or far right, that you so right you come back left. I mean, that's the deal. And so the Republicans have it much easier in the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party has an Ocasio-Cortez and a Joe Manchin and a Casey and a Bishop and a McBath in the same district. The right, Jordan, Rubio, Cornyn, I mean, you pretty much know what they said. That's the difference here. And I think a lot of people don't understand those distinctions of why you got to have this mix of people who are speaking on the Democratic side. All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment. As our community comes together to support the fight against racial injustice, I want to take a second to talk about one thing we can do to ensure our voices are heard. Not tomorrow, but now. Have your voices heard in terms of what kind of future we want by taking the 2020 census today at 2020census.gov? Now, folks, let me help you out. The census is a count of everyone living in the country. It happens once every 10 years. It is mandated by the U.S. Constitution. The thing that's important is that the census informs funding, billions of dollars, how they are spent in our communities every single year. I grew up in Clinton Park in Houston, Texas, and we wanted new parks and roads and a senior citizen center. Well, the census helps inform all of that and where funding goes. It also determines how many seats your state will get in the U.S. House of Representatives. Young black men and young children of color are historically undercounted, which means a potential loss of funding for services that helps our community. Folks, we have the power to change that. We have the power to help determine where hundreds of billions in federal funding go each year for the next 10 years. Funding that can impact our community, our neighborhoods, and our families and friends. Folks, responses are 100% confidential and can't be shared with your landlord, law enforcement, or any government agency. So please, take the 2020 census today. Shape your future. Start at 2020census.gov.